would be wonderful, lovely, amazing today to have either a block, a yoga block, or a stack of books, maybe like the same width of a yoga block, something that's got this nice lift that you can kind of wedge underneath your thigh, like the really meaty part of your thigh. We're going to get to supported splits at the end of today's stretch. Also, like a stack of pillows can feel really nice if you're feeling just kind of like melty today and would prefer something soft to prop you up. That totally works. We actually are going to start standing today, so I'm going to keep an eye the best I can on the waiting room, but we'll start at the back of your mat, and you can just kind of round the feet down. Here, I'll tilt up so before there we go. And start to like shift your weight forward and back, side to side. Kind of explore the bottom of your feet, almost like you're trying to give the toes, the heel, the arch, ball, all those bits of the foot a little bit of a massage here. Maybe you rise up on the toes and come back down. Maybe lift the toes, give them a wiggle. Just kind of get all the nervous energy or anything that you might be coming to the mat with today out through your feet. Just send it out into the ground. Maybe roll out an ankle and then the other. And then from here, we're just gonna start to find some stillness. So maybe that rock starts to slow as you really find the center here. Letting the shoulders drop away from the ears, arms dangle lightly by the sides. No tension in the fingers, maybe give them a little wiggle. Allowing the shoulders to drop down away from the ears. Maybe the eyes are closed here, or maybe you just have a nice soft gaze. Not really focusing on any one thing, but trying to take in the full room around you. The tongue drops away from the roof of the mouth here. Maybe a swallow or two feels nice to relax the throat. We'll take a big inhale to fill up the breath all the way into the belly here. And exhale to let it go. On your next inhale, arms will come up over the head, reaching, maybe opening the eyes, maybe keeping them closed. And on your exhale, kind of leading with the elbows and the chest, start to drop the body down. Inhale, bring the arms back up for 2 more times, just like that. Reaching, feeling lots of length coming up from the feet to the fingertips. And then exhale to melt the torso down. Inhaling up 1 more time. Exhale to fold. And here you can make sure that the feet are hips width apart. Give a nice bend into the knees and let the torso hang. Maybe grabbing opposite elbows, taking a little sway from side to side. Maybe you're shaking out the head, yes, no. Maybe finding a little bounce or a bend in the knees here. Just finding what feels natural for you in this first forward fold of the day. Check in with your legs. How are they doing? How are they feeling? Hamstrings, knees, shins, butt, all that fun stuff that's hanging out down there. Building up that picture as you continue to settle in with each breath to this forward fold. and release the elbows, bringing the hands down toward the ground if you've got them grabbed. And we'll step the right foot over top of the left, bringing it to the opposite side. And you can feel here kind of the left leg wanting to really over straighten, but go ahead and just press that left knee into the back of the right knee and see what that engagement does in the back of the leg for the stretch here. Almost like you're zipping the knees together as the torso continues to drop. Top of head pointing down toward the mat. One deep inhale here. Exhale to come back to center. Take one breath just to lengthen the spine here, lifting long. And on the exhale, as you bring the torso back down, this time step the left leg over top. Really feeling that pull, almost as if there's a magnet in between your two knees here, the knee crevice in the front of the right knee. Keep breathing. Tilting the tailbone up toward the ceiling. And then last deep inhale. Exhale to come on out of that. And really taking your time here, nice and slow, keeping the legs bent. Start to walk yourself out to downward facing dog. Once you are there, find that nice pedal from side to side. Stretching out the calves, your Achilles. This time feeling super grounded in the palms, the fingers, the fingertips, all of it pressing into the mat. Hands spread nice and wide. And then just for a moment here, go ahead and have this deep, deep bend in your legs while you find a little bit of still moment to breathe. As the knees bend, continue to bring them down toward the mat, nice and wide. Untuck the toes and sit your hips back into a nice long extended child's pose. From here, you can roll the hips a little from side to side. Won't stay long, so just using this to check in. How are the hips doing? How's my back? My pelvis? If you'd like, you can take a few little circles, coming up onto the knees and then swinging around the opposite direction. Maybe 2 each way. Just waking up the hip joints from a day of probably being all in the same position. Beautiful. And then from here, we're going to come on out onto the belly. But as you come on out, we're going to bring with us the left knee. So it comes out into this half frog leg sort of position here. As much as possible, keeping both hip points facing down toward the mat. We'll come up onto your elbows. And I like to keep this right foot here, or this left foot, nice and bright. So flexing, pulling the toes back up toward the shin, especially if your knee feels like it's taking a lot of pressure here. Pressing down with the foot. If you want some core work, you can focus on lifting up with the belly button here. Just one more breath. And we'll switch sides. So gently sliding that on back. And this time, inching up that right leg, flexing the right foot, and settling in so that you can find nice squared off hips here. Breathing into the hip, the inner thigh. No need to clench in the jaw or the fingers. Deep breath into the belly. And on the exhale, take it all the way back and go ahead and lay the arm down flat. From here, we will squeeze the left heel toward the left butt cheek, reach back with the left hand, and grab the top of the foot to find a quad stretch. Remembering the key here is really to engage the left glute, pressing the hip bone down into the mat. And the hand is really not doing all that much once you've got the hip engaged. One more breath here. Without ricocheting, gently bring that calf back down to the ground and switch to the opposite side on your inhale. Reaching back, engaging with the right glute. And continuing to breathe here. Noticing if your hips have opened at all toward either side. Trying to check in as much as possible throughout today to make sure that both headlights of your hips are pointing forward. I almost encourage you more to use your sort of inner mirror than to actually like look in a mirror or check, because it's so much easier to tell intuitively when you have alignment in your core and your hips. Why? Don't know. But it also, like, I feel like you can definitely feel it when it's off. So anywho, if you haven't let go of the quad stretch already, go ahead and take that on out. We'll just take a tiny moment here to breathe in Sphinx pose. So bringing the elbows right underneath the shoulders, lifting the chest. Finding a nice deep inhale into the lower ribs. And on your exhale, you will push it up once more to find a downward facing dog. From here, you're going to lift the left leg, bend the knee so that the heel points up toward the ceiling, and then peel that leg open, almost so that you're pulling the left heel toward the left butt cheek and pointing the knee up toward the ceiling. Here's another great space to kind of roll out the ankle for a moment. And then from here, that leg is going to swing all the way up and in between the hands to find a nice low lunge, dropping the back knee, untucking the toe, walking your hands up on top of the thigh, and finding a tall, proud chest. Checking in once again with the hips, kind of feeling here. Okay, are they both? Yes, both aligned. Awesome. Last deep breath with the chest lifted. And as you exhale, bring the hands back down to the mat as we shift the hips back, flexing the front toes toward the knee, and finding our hamstring stretch here. We're going to flow through those two positions, but just take one more deep breath before we start to move. Maybe sighing out the mouth. And then with your inhale, move forward into the low lunge. Lifting, maybe floating the fingertips off of the mat if you like. And then the exhale shifts you back, maybe dipping the chin if you want, if that feels good for you on that hamstring stretch. So inhale, maybe lift the chest. Exhale back, maybe dip the chin. Two more. Inhale to lunge. Exhale for runner stretch. Last time through. Exhale back. Inhale up. Go ahead and lift the back knee so that you can rotate open toward the side, trying to leave your left heel on the ground as you sit into a side lunge of a stretch here. If the heel comes up, or needs to lift a little bit. That's totally okay, but take a peek, see how it feels. And then gently, you'll make your way over to the other side. Hang out here for just a breath. And then we'll rotate everything over to start with the right side lunge. So dropping the back knee, walking on up to the top of the thigh, and finding that lift. Shoulders drop down the back. Even your back, top of the foot here is pressing down, feeling that grounding space. Deep breath in. And the exhale brings you back down toward the mat as we shift ourselves back for a few breaths in runner's lunge. You can always have that lovely little micro bend in the knee. I feel like that is one of the only ways I can feel the stretch in like the deep meat of my hamstring. So you don't always have to be, actually it's not good for you to be like completely locked out, but even straight sometimes doesn't give as much of a stretch as a bend will. Just depends on the day, depends on the body. We are all different. Last breath in here. And then we'll start to flow. Remembering once again to keep the hips in line. Maybe you do that by squeezing the inner thighs. Maybe you do that by moving nice and slow and with intention. Exhaling as we sit back and flex the front foot, maybe dipping the chin. Inhaling as we shift forward, maybe lifting the chest. 2 more times through at your pace. Next time you come back into the lunge, we'll tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and once again, rotate open toward the side. Trying again to keep that right heel planted as you flex the left toes up. In here, and then gently making your way back over to the lunge on the right. Unwinding, and we'll just step the right foot up here. Take one little breath to lengthen the spine, and exhale to fold again. As we step right on back with the left leg in front and the right leg back. So from here, we'll keep this nice high lunge. Trying as much as possible not to just dump the torso onto the left thigh, finding that little lift here. And maybe if you want a little more, sometimes it's nice to feel some heat in the legs as you're loosening up the muscles. So come on up to a nice high lunge if that feels like something you'd like. You can also add a little bend to that back knee to both get more stretch in the right hip and feel that little shake, maybe heating up the muscles, doing the work. If you came on up, gently take yourself back down, and we'll step the back toes in about 2 feet to find a pyramid pose here. So your feet aren't on the same line, they're more like on railroad tracks, in line with your hips. And then we'll do the same inhale to lift the spine, and exhale to fold. Tucking the chin here, letting the top of the head drop down toward the mat. Checking in with the alignment of the hips. And maybe, if you've still got that bend in the front leg, you exhale into just a little bit of a straighten. And then as you inhale, bend again. Just working with that hamstring in the slightest margin of movement. Okay, beautiful. So from here, we'll come back on down to our nice low lunge. And you can drop the back knee or keep it lifted as we toe heel the left foot out toward the side of the mat to find the lizard pose. 2 variations I'll offer you here, which is just as is, like we've kind of set ourselves up on. You can also walk this variation down, maybe on top of a block, resting the elbows there, or even down on the mat. Or the second variation is once again squeezing that heel toward the butt cheek, reaching up and back, and finding a quad stretch here. I sometimes feel like this sort of twisted quad stretch is easier in the lizard variation because you've got more space for your torso to open up. Reach back to find the foot. But again, everyone's totally different. So if that doesn't feel right for you, feel free to stay on in whatever lizard variation you would like. If you want to keep that feeling of engagement here, you can kick the top of the right foot into the hand and pull back with the hand, lighting up through that back leg. And then taking your time nice and slow as we come on back out. Walking your way back up if you took it down. And then from here, tucking the back toes to take a giant step up to find ourselves a low lunge or a low squat. This is a squat, not a lunge, at the top of the mat. You can bring the hands to the heart, pressing the palms together here and pressing the elbows into the knees to find some opposition. And I'm feeling a little bit of a sway, but maybe this is your moment for stillness, to close the eyes, to breathe as much as it feels your body allows you to in this position. And we'll take a last breath here. Allowing the exhale to tilt the tailbone up toward the sky as you toe heel the feet in about hips width distance apart. From here, we will slide the hands as much as possible underneath the feet, maybe giving that nice generous bend to be able to get yourself there. And your toes will come up towards your wrists. You can lengthen the spine just like we usually do with an inhale, and then exhale, bending the elbows and finding a deep, deep fold. If this is uncomfy for you in the wrong way, go ahead and just come back into a normal forward fold that you like. But if it's uncomfy for you in the, what is this? Do I like it? Do I hate it way? Maybe stay for another breath. And when you're ready, go ahead and free those hands and start to gently tiptoe yourself back into our down dog. This time, we're going to reach the right foot back, nice and high, bend the knee so that the heel reaches up toward the ceiling, and then peel it on open. This time, pulling that right knee toward the glute and pressing the knee up toward the ceiling. Right heel toward the glute, knee to the ceiling. Body parts. All right, swinging that right leg up on in between your hands. You'll come up to that high lunge maybe here, maybe dropping that back knee if you don't want as much fire and you'd rather just settle in. Maybe reaching the arms up alongside the ears as you breathe. You can find that little bend in the back leg if you've raised the knee to engage just a tiny bit more. Keep breathing. And then your next exhale brings it back down as you step the back leg up and in for pyramid pose. Nice and even on your train tracks for the legs. Inhaling to lift and exhaling to fold. Nose is pointing toward the back knee here. No extra tension in the head, the neck, the jaw. One more deep breath in. Stepping back to find a really long lunge. We'll this time start to creep the right foot out toward the edge of the mat and set up for your pyramid pose. Maybe bringing the block here to come on down, or maybe once again pulling that heel toward the butt cheek and reaching on back to find the quad stretch. Really weighting down the right hip here. This is also a super hard place to try and keep the hips square. So the front leg is turned out. The back knee may or may not have a tendency to turn in, depending on what your alignment feels like on a regular basis. But try as much as possible to stay plugged in here. As we begin to transition out, take it nice and slow. Feeling each bit of the movement. As you actually, instead of coming up to this block, start to toe heel the foot all the way over to the opposite side of the mat and settle into a pigeon pose. So from here, maybe you put that block right underneath the hip. Maybe not, maybe you're feeling good and open already. We'll take one breath with this lifted chest. And then lightly on your exhale, like you're floating down toward the mat, go ahead and drop the torso. We'll breathe here for maybe 30 seconds. Feeling that same kind of grounding sensation. This support is coming from you pressing down into the mat with this top shin, with your back foot. So even though it feels in some ways like a collapse, it really is a collaborative effort. Okay, nice and easy, start to walk yourself back up. Sit over onto the right hip here. And then what we're gonna do is swing the this is left. Today is the day. The left heel on top of the right knee. There it is. And sit it back to a figure four. From here, you can reach underneath the thigh if you'd like. Maybe you find a little rock from side to side. Lots of nice little hip stuff in a row here. So we should be feeling nice and open by the time we get to end with our supported splits. Once you've had your fill in figure four, you can bring both knees into the chest and just take a big breath in. Maybe sigh it out. Reaching in between the knees, grab for the outside of your feet and come on into happy baby. Pressing the feet up toward the ceiling as the tailbone flattens out on the mat. Your lower back is pressing into the mat, shoulders pulling down the back. And here too is a lovely place to find a little rock from side to side. Maybe Maybe the breathing slows a little. We'll bring the soles of the feet together here and rock yourself on up, whatever way feels right for you. Maybe you're using your hands to do that. And two options here in between. You can sit here in this nice butterfly pose, maybe take a little bit of a forward bend, or you can open up the legs to find a straddle here and walk that on forward. We'll take maybe a minute here if we've got it. Yeah, we've got it. You're breathing, trying to continue to encourage that brightness in the feet and the legs pressing down into the mat to feel lifted. Even here is a place where you can employ that little micro bend if you're in the straddle. And slowly anchoring the tailbone, you can allow the spine to roll on up. Bring the legs back together in front of you, and we'll just take a quick walk forward over your nice long hamstrings here. One breath in. Exhale out. Roll it on up. And this time you're swinging the right leg around behind you as the left sets up in the front for pigeon. Just like before, maybe you take that block, prop it up underneath the left hip. Make sure you got those square hips. Checking in. Deep breath in to lift the chest. Exhale to come on down. Breathe 30 seconds. Feeling that nice strong press into the mat with both feet, with the front shin. Seconds go so fast. Okay. We're walking it back on up. Nice and easy as you sit over onto the left side hip. Swing the front leg around. Tuck it on top of the knee and roll yourself on back for our figure four here. Maybe you reach underneath the thigh. Maybe you grab a little tilt from side to side. Just like before, we'll take one big breath with the knees into the chest. This time bringing the soles of the feet together and taking the knees open wide, making a little diamond shape with the lower half of your body. This moment to acknowledge every single thing you just did. Maybe you built up a little heat. Maybe the heart rate is elevated. Maybe you feel like your legs moved in a way they haven't in a while. Acknowledge that. Gently bring the hands to the outside of the thighs. Pull them back in together. And we'll rock ourselves on up to set up for supported splits. So we'll grab our block or our stack of books or our stack of pillows. And actually, let's start with the leg in front that you know is the leg you don't feel good about doing this on. For me, that is the left leg. I have injured it, and it is not kind to me. I've injured it before. It's healed now, but it's never really healed. So we're setting ourselves up just like before in that runner's lunge. This is its own form of split, really. And as you begin to shimmy the front foot forward and toe the back leg back, see if you can find a point at which your hips are square and you've come to rest on this block. Maybe this block is all the way up on the top setting. Maybe this front leg is nice and bent. You can have that lovely little bend, that right foot. Even in the back, you can tuck that toe if you want to feel really super stable here and find that connection with the ground again. Or if you're feeling like straightening out this leg allows you to stay supported and keep the hips square, here we are. So now that we've taken our time setting up, I'm going to set that timer for 45 seconds. Here, maybe focusing on the core, so dropping the shoulders, pulling the belly button back toward the spine, tucking in the lower ribs, allowing this right hip here to drop down and feel nice and open. Tailbone is tucking. Maybe your glutes are a little bit engaged. Maybe not. See what sort of a difference that makes. Engaging the glutes versus not. How does it change the stretch for you? Oh, we have 3 seconds left. Time goes so fast. Amazing, amazing work here. Go ahead and take the hands back to the mat. Toe that foot back in a way that makes sense for you. And we'll set up on the other side. So starting with the runner's lunge, finding your optimal hip shape here. And then from there, just sliding the legs. Maybe you come onto that block pretty high and realize, okay, actually, I think I could take it down one. Seeing how that goes. If it feels like you can still stay nice and supported, go for it. Again, you always have that option to find that nice, generous bend. Oh, I'm too open. Can't bend. There we go. In the front and the back leg. This too is training everything that a split that looks like a split is training. So you're still getting all the lovely benefits, whether you are down on the ground or up on your block. And I'll set that timer now, hoping that you've got yourself situated for 45 seconds. Checking in here with your breath. Is it shallow? Is it all coming into your chest? Can you push some down into the belly? How is the ground supporting you here? Are you pressing down with your feet? Are you zipping in the inner thighs? Maybe turn up the corners of the mouth. No pressure. And then slowly we can start to come back on out of this. Taking your time, your sweet, sweet time. And we will bring both knees wide, finding a nice long child's pose. Breathing here. If it felt good last time, maybe you come back into that hip circle to just kind of shake loose Anything that started to feel tight or constricted as we were hanging out in splits. And then nice and slow, you can start to walk the hands back. So maybe come to find a comfortable seat with the block or the pillows underneath your hips here and with the shins tucked under. Or you can take any other seat that feels good for you and begin to rest the thighs or rest the hands on the thighs. And just breathe. From here, bring the palms of your hands together and start to rub them. Create a little bit of heat. Once you feel that friction, that warmth, bring one hand to the heart and one to the belly. Maybe here you can feel your heartbeat, your breath, your source. And this is a wonderful moment to send yourself some big gratitude. Maybe you tried something new. Maybe you revisited something old. Maybe you were kind to yourself the whole way through this and relied on your inner mirror to know what felt right. Acknowledge something about this practice that really felt beautifully in gratitude and aligned with what you came here for today. And then with the eyes still closed, I want you to take that feeling and picture someone who you know and love, who either may be going through something tough right now, we kind of all are, or just could use a little bit of good juju in their lives. See them and feel this feeling that you have just worked up in yourself, radiating out, wrapping around them like a hug, and swirling itself back around you. Now allowing the picture of that person to expand into all of your loved ones, your acquaintances, the people you pass on the street or on the subway, your community, your city, your country, and beyond. Allowing that same pure gratitude, that warmth of well-wishing and oneness, to swirl around it all. And as that image starts to fade, you can focus back on your breath as we close it out together with 3 nice long breaths, letting the air go. Deep inhale. Exhale out. Inhale. exhale. One more. Let your natural breathing patterns return. If you still have the hands on the heart and the belly, you can slowly let them drop. And begin to open the eyes, taking in the room. We did it. We did the scary splits. I hope you're feeling nice and open and like you can conquer the world. And I have another workout after this, so I have regrets. Oh well. I'm sure it'll be fine. But okay, see you again soon. Take care this week.